So welcome to When She No Longer Wants to Cook for You, Here's What You Do. Today I figured I'd make some buffalo chicken wings and mashed potatoes because not only do the kids eat that up, it's the season. We got football going on and of course basketball is about to start. So when I make my chicken wings, or when I make any kind of chicken, the most important thing is to season the chicken correctly. And the way I get my seasoning is from a Puerto Rican cookbook that has basically how to season your chicken by the pound. Today we're cooking 1.5 pounds of chicken wings. The chicken wings have been cut at the joint and the tips have been removed and weighed out to 1.5 pounds. So for 1.5 pounds of chicken wings, you need 2 black peppercorns, running low on peppercorns. You need 1 clove of garlic. Could you pass me the garlic, Josh? Let me get 1 more because I like garlic. With garlic, when you're going to crush it in the mortar, by the way, it's always good to have a mortar and pestle in your home to season up your food. I use this for almost everything from rice to soup and meat and so on. So for garlic, the good thing to do is to press it and you can get the skin right off. I'm sure you've seen this on any cooking show. You know what I need, Josh? The teaspoon from the drawer. So that was 1 clove of garlic or 2 if you're me. And you need oregano, salt, olive oil, and vinegar. Now, I have borderline high blood pressure, so any recipe that calls for salt, I cut the salt in half and use adobo for the rest. And if you're Puerto Rican, you know about adobo. Okay. So for the oregano, you need 3/4 of a teaspoon. It calls for 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So what I would put in is 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then 1.5 teaspoons of oregano. To me, when you season chicken like this, it's the way chicken is supposed to smell. And to tell the truth, once you got the seasoning all together, if it has that smell, you know it's right. 1 teaspoon of olive oil and 1/4 teaspoon of vinegar. Could you give me the 1/4 teaspoon? It's a little bit more than 1/4 teaspoon, but that'll be fine. So when you have all the ingredients in your mortar, is that the mortar or the pestle? When you have all your ingredients in the bowl, you just get in there, grind them up till you get a real nice paste. And the thing is, you want to do this at least the night before or 6 hours before you want to cook the chicken. And if you've bought chicken to cook it right away, you're doing it the wrong way. You need to season your chicken at least 4 or 5 hours before you cook it. So once you've got a nice paste, like this, you're going to take that paste, put it in a plastic bag with your chicken, and mix it around. Now, I've already done that, and this chicken has been seasoned for 6 hours or so, and that's what you want to get. And if you smell that, you know you're going to have some good chicken. So let's cut to commercial right now. So that sound you hear is the water I'm getting ready for the potatoes. I'm filling the pot up with about 3/4 of the way up, and I'm going to put a little salt in there, and I want to get it started boiling so we can get those potatoes ready for you. So with the chicken, what I'm going to do now is flour it. What I have here is a cup of flour and a little bit of cornmeal. And I just mix it up in here, a little bit of ground pepper, and I put the chicken in it. Now the thing is, a lot of people when they're making buffalo wings, they'll fry the chicken. I don't like to fry it because I'm an old man and I need to watch my health. So once you've floured the chicken, and you want to make sure you lay it down on a baking sheet, skin side down. It's important to lay it skin side down because the skin will make a little oil, and the oil will help cook the chicken when you put it into the oven, because you're going to bake it instead of fry it. So I have the oven heating up at 350, and I'm going to put it in there for 350 for an hour, and for the last 15 minutes, for another 15 minutes after that hour, I'm going to turn it up to 400 just to make sure that the chicken is cooked all the way through. So this does get a little messy with the flour and everything. And I'm a person who uses the tongs for the chicken and then my hands after it's floured. Feel free to do it however you like. And then you just want to make sure it's laid down on this baking sheet without them pretty much touching, skin side down. And once we've have that all laid out, we can pop that into the oven. We'll be right back. So we're going to finish it up here. Give that to Josh to put into the oven. It's going to be in the oven for about 45 minutes, maybe almost an hour before you want to turn them over. If you try to turn them over too soon, the skin sticks to the pan. And I tell you, no matter what you do, you could line it with foil, you could spray it with Pam, you could put butter, the skin will stick to the pan. So you have to wait till about 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and then flip them over and be careful. And then you're good. So next is the potatoes. For mashed potatoes, I don't like to use Idaho potatoes because they're really good for, put this in the sink. Idaho potatoes are better for baking. For mashed potatoes, I like to use regular white potatoes. I've cleaned them up. Like I said, I have about 3/4 of a pot of water and salt boiling on the stove. And all I do with these potatoes is either cut them in half. If they're a little bit big, I'll quarter them. And what I'm going to do is just toss them in the pot like this and let them boil for about half an hour. And then we'll get to mashing them. While we're waiting for the potatoes to boil, we're going to get the buffalo sauce together. Now, for buffalo wings, the buffalo sauce is the most important part. if you like buttery mashed potatoes, use Yukon Gold. Those come out real buttery. So I'm going to put these into the oven, and I'm going to get the ingredients for the buffalo sauce, and when we come back, we'll be in the kitchen. All right, gentlemen, we're in the kitchen now. It's a regular kitchen, a stove. Don't be intimidated by it. If you can play Nintendo, you can turn on an oven. Boiling water. When it's boiling, pretty much you can tell it's bubbling over. You want to make sure you put your potatoes into it. Get them boiling. And then we'll get started on this buffalo sauce. The buffalo sauce for buffalo wings is pretty basic. That's the chance you get to change it up and make it just your own. So what I start with is a cup of Frank's Red Hot. Put that shit on everything. And most important, for your buffalo sauce is butter. A lot of people put this, forget about this, and we're not talking about margarine. We're not talking about, I can't believe it's not butter. No matter how much they tell you that stuff is healthier for you, they're lying. So I put 2 tablespoons of butter in, which is pretty much 2 pats. Melt that down. Again, I tend to use salted butter because I don't use salt when I'm cooking, so it's safe to use it. It doesn't really add to the sodium content of the dish. So once you have the butter melted down, Josh, can you pass me one of the whisks that are on the end of the table? Next, you want to add some Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire, what's this here? Worcestershire sauce. I tend to put about a tablespoon in. Thank you, sir. And I whisk it in. Now, one of the things I like to add to my buffalo sauce is Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Parmigiano Reggiano cheese is an Italian cheese. It's a Parmesan cheese, and it's supposed to be 600 years old, and it has a very distinct taste, and it adds a little flavor to your buffalo sauce. So that's my own little addition. So you get that all whisked up. Usually you add a little salt and pepper for taste. Put it on a low flame. Cover it and let it simmer for about 10-15 minutes. You get all those ingredients nice and mixed up together. Be careful when you smell this because the hot sauce tends to rush right up your nostrils and overwhelm your senses. But the best thing to do is taste it for your flavor. When you're cooking, taste everything. That's how you know how it tastes. So once this buffalo sauce is done, it'll be about 20 minutes. You let it simmer down, and you let those potatoes boil and get soft. and we'll get to mashing and mixing the buffalo wings, and we can start eating. I guess we'll be right back. So once your sauce is thickened up, you're going to want to mix it with your with the chicken. So this is the same chicken I've taken out the oven before. I'm going to add a little bit of the sauce. Make sure we get it on all the chicken. And then we're going to put this chicken into the oven for another 15 minutes. And by the time you take the chicken out, potatoes should be ready. And we should be ready to eat. All I have here is a broiler pan. Lucky it wasn't the salt. All I have here is a broiler pan lined with foil. I'm gonna lay the chicken with the sauce out on it. Make sure it's nice and flat. And put it back in the oven for another 15 minutes. And once we get back, we should get to mashing these potatoes and eating. See you soon. So after about 10-15 minutes, we're gonna take those wings out of the oven. And those are your buffalo wings. After we plate them, we could always put a little bit of the sauce on the side if people want a little bit more sauce. And then we'll get working on those mashed potatoes. You'll find that these wings are just spicy enough. Yeah. I tend to make a lot because I have a lot of kids. So let's get working on those potatoes. The potatoes, you can always tell when your potatoes are ready to come off the fire because you stick a fork in them and they'll be nice and soft. And I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't remove the skins from my potatoes because the kids don't seem to care and it's healthier for you. So in the same pot, I'm going to take the potatoes. Once I've drained them in a colander, I didn't just pour them into the sink. This is a colander here. Get all that water out. Get them back into the pot. People like to talk about a potato ricer and all that stuff. I'm old school. I have a potato masher. So you get in there, mash those potatoes up once, real good. And then we start adding the extra ingredients for your mashed potatoes, which will be 2 tablespoons of butter, a little bit of milk. I say a little bit of milk because we're going to add milk, and as it gets creamy, we'll know when to stop. So it's about a third of a cup, a quarter of a cup. It's not an exact science, it's how you like them. So we'll start with the milk. Got a little bit of milk in there. Start mashing it up. You'll see they get a little creamy as soon as you add the milk. Again, with my salted butter, because real butter is always better. I like to use white pepper. White pepper has a very distinct taste. You use less, but the less you use, the more of a flavor you get. Don't use too much. And really, these are to taste. A little fresh cracked pepper. And a little regular salt. Get to mashing that a little bit. You want to mix it all up. What you have is chunky potatoes. So again, I'm going to add a little milk. Get it mashed a little bit more. And then what I do is, again, I'm old school. Already you can see how it breaks off of the masher. I get a whisk. And we whisk that up. So once you have that nice and whisked up, you're gonna want to taste it. Make sure you have enough salt and pepper in there. And the last secret ingredient, whatever kind you like, I tend to prefer Miracle Whip, but whatever kind of mayonnaise you like. Add about a half a tablespoon to 3/4 of a tablespoon. You don't want to add too much because you can taste the mayonnaise, and you just want the flavor. You don't want it to overpower. Get that mayonnaise in there. And I tell you, better than any ricer. And it's pretty much good to go. So I'm gonna plate this up, and we'll have my cameraman have his taste. Tell me how it tastes. So we'll be right back. My style of cooking is influenced by both my mother's background as well as my father's background. So my mother's from Puerto Rico, and my grandfather was a chef, and my father is from down south. And when my grandfather used to come to the house, he would come and we didn't eat anything but his cooking. And he would take me to La Marqueta on 116th Street, and we walked through Park Avenue, and he would pick up peppers and smell and haggle with the vendors, and we'd come back and have a great meal. On the other hand, growing up, we always had family events: Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, New Year's, July the 4th. With my father's family, and my father's from down south, Darien, Georgia, and that's where you got mac and cheese and collard greens, fried chicken and crabs. So I was blessed with a international palate, I guess, because these foods are what I grew up with, and food doesn't taste right unless it tastes like that.